Hi guys, today we're going to be looking at Flask Bootstrap. I don't know if you're familiar with Bootstrap, but you can check online. It's Bootstrap. So basically, Bootstrap is a CSS framework that allows you to work on your website easily. It provides already made codes that you can add to your website to style your website, and it's a CSS framework. Okay, so for instance, if you want to create a button, they're already pre-installed or pre-designed buttons that you can just add to your application or to your website straight from Bootstrap. So it's pretty awesome, so that you don't spend too much time trying to create from scratch, but you can literally work with Bootstrap. In the previous video, we looked at CSS and how to work with CSS, and that's you writing your own CSS code, which is also really awesome and something that I would recommend you do from time to time. But because Flask is not just necessarily building websites, but actually having functional web applications, the difference between a website and a web application is that a website is static and it doesn't change, but a web application has logic, so it can change based on who's using it and what the user is doing with it. Okay, so basically Flask is not a website, so don't take it as you can only build website with Flask. Flask is a micro framework. You can build full-fledged web applications with Flask. So today we're going to go through just learning Flask Bootstrap. All right, just because I want you to get used to installing Flask and creating virtual environments, we'll go through the process again. Practice makes perfect. So I would encourage you to always try and create new Flask applications so that you're not using just one file in trying to learn this, because the more you do it, the better you become at it. Okay, so what do we do first, right? I want to check out my document, so ls, and then I would cd to documents. You can do whatever you like, right? I just want to create my folder in a specific place, and I would cd to learning, and then in learning I would I would cd to Flask. I have a folder called Flask, and then in Flask I would create a new folder, mkdir, and I'll call it Superman. Okay, and then I'll cd to Superman. You can call it whatever you like. All right, so right now I'm in Superman, but I also want to be able to see my file. So if we go to documents and then learning, you can see that I have Flask folder, and in my Flask folder you can see the Superman I just created. Okay, so we're gonna try and drag it to Visual Studio Code. I'm just gonna drag that to Visual Studio Code. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, so here's my file in Visual Studio Code. Let's just open a new terminal and make this bigger so we can see it. Okay, so this is my already created folder, right? And what can we do here? So let's say we want to create a virtual environment, because we need to create a virtual environment to be able to install Flask, right? But I want to do it straight from the terminal. We have an inbuilt terminal in Visual Studio Code. I'm sure you know that. I just want to do it from here. Okay, so in Superman, to create a virtual environment, we'll say virtual env and then env. So yes, we have a virtual environment created. You can see here. Okay. Okay, just so that we don't go back and forth, I can just do it here, right? So since we already have a virtual environment, we can activate the virtual environment. Already in the env, you can see it has a bin and it has an activate, right? So right from here, we'll just say source env bin and then activate. We've gone through this before, right? So I'm just trying to skip through, right? So we're in our virtual environment now. So I can do Flask. Sorry, pip3 install Flask. So pip install Flask, because we can now install Flask in env, and that would install Flask. Take a minute. Okay, so whilst that's happening, we can start creating folders, right? So let's create app.py. So that's already done. Awesome. So we've created Flask, forget about pip3 version and all of that. That's fine. And now let's create app.py. That's how we enter into our application, right? So from Flask. Oh yeah, we're into install pylint and all of that. So from Flask, import Flask and render template, and then we'll say app. This thing looks a bit weird, so let's close this, close the env. Where do we have app.py? Oh, sorry, app.py is not supposed to be in here. It's supposed to be outside it. Yeah, so move. Right, so they make sure that your app.py is not inside the environment, it's outside it. And so we say app equals the Flask that we just installed. I mean, we've gone through this, just want to go back through it again. And then dash name. This is just telling Flask, please create a new web application. Sorry, what's going on? Right, so that's it. And then app.route. So we'll enter the application from here, and then def home or index, whichever you want. This time let's use def index. Remember, there's a function in Python. So return render templates, and then we've not created that yet, but we'll create it in a minute. Render templates, and then this will be index.html. Okay, and then so once we have that, we're not done yet, right? And then we'll do sorry, one second, what's going on? Invalid syntax. Oh, def index, it's a function, so it needs to be like this. Sorry about that. All right, and then we now have to create, we don't want to run the application yet, so we'll just say, I mean, just to end it, we can say if dash name, okay, just this, equals in colon dash main. So if this is true, sorry, if this is true, all you have to do is run the app, right? So we'll say app.run debug equals true. I know we're talking about Flask Bootstrap, but I just want to make sure that we're doing this again. All right, so we can save that, and then we can create a template folder. Why do you keep doing this? So right here, so templates folder, so templates, and then inside templates we have index.html. So we create inside the templates, we have index.html, and then let's just have the basic HTML. I mean, let's just do HTML. It should do that for me. It's not doing that, right? We should have doc type and all that, but we just want to do this quickly. So head. Oh, the show isn't writing it for me. So head, and we'll have title here, and title. So this is my website. This is my website. Okay, and then we'll have body. What do we want the body to be? So we'll rework this into like Ginger 2 templates after we figured out Bootstrap and all of that. But let's just go with me, okay? Just take time. H1. Welcome to my website. Okay. H1. Close, and we save this. So basically, this is the index.html that we want to run, and we want app.py to run. So let's try and run it now. So once we're done with that, we can try and run Flask run. Hopefully it works out. And there are no errors. Let's see about that. Is it taking time to run? Okay, so we can open it. That's it. So basically, this is our initial application. Welcome to my website. Thank you for your patience in going through that with me. And now we can go to Bootstrap. So we want to pick up Bootstrap and just add it to index.html so that so take a look at what this looks like right now. Okay, it will change once we add Bootstrap. So how do we add Bootstrap to this? You can go to just scroll down. So there are different ways you can add Bootstrap, but for here we can just add using the CSS. So we can just pick the CSS link, just this link. We don't even have to pick the JavaScript, just pick this. Oops, sorry, I'm just taking time to read. I just want you. Okay, sorry, my keyboard is all right. So we'll pick this, that's it, and then we put that in the head of the website. So we just put it here, so anywhere here. So let's put it here. But then if we do that, we need to call base.html for it to work, right? we need to call an index.html where we're using it. We need to extend Bootstrap. So we can do that anywhere really. So we can do that just right here and say, using the Ginger 2 template here, we can say, you know, extends Bootstrap. So this is in Bootstrap, so we'll do extends Bootstrap base.html. This is basically just extending Bootstrap. So we can do that. And then now after we've added it, we need to add the container here. So we need to say div class equals container, and then add div class equals container. I'm not sure why it doesn't close it up for me, but that's fine. And then close the div. Okay, save it, and let's try and, so Control C will cut the application and then try and run it again. Flask run to run the application. Let's refresh and see what happens. Look at what it looks like now. Oh, there's an error. Where are we making mistakes? Oh, sorry, we might not even need this. Extends. So let's just save this without it, and then Control C, Flask run. Let's see what happens, and then refresh. Oh, not sure why it's taking time. 1 second, guys. Okay, I can just refresh it. It's like it's running 2 servers. Okay, it's loading from Bootstrap, I guess. So let's see what happens. Not sure why it's loading, taking time. Why are you taking your time? Yeah, so you see it's waiting for StackPad Bootstrap. My internet is quite slow. Exactly. So you can see that it just changed because now we're running from Bootstrap. Sorry for it. It took time. My internet was misbehaving. So you can see, welcome to my website. It's changed. If we want to prove that it's actually here, we can just go and go to documentation and pick something from the, maybe like a nav bar or something like that, and just add it, or even just a button if you want, right? So I wonder why my internet is slow right now. So I can pick a button and say button, and then say class equals btn. Let's see if it's coming now. So yeah, we have the documentation here. So we can go to components, and in components is where we'll find things that we can add to Bootstrap, to our web application. Internet, but just things I might remember. Let's even just use a Jumbotron actually. So we'll say div class equals Jumbotron. Let's use a Jumbotron, and then in the Jumbotron I'll just use h1, and just say welcome here, and then close h1 and save. Let's run this again. Control C, Flask run, and then refresh the page. Sorry, my internet is acting up now. And then you can see Jumbotron, right? So basically Bootstrap is working. So if we pick up a card or pick up a button, so let's pick up a button and add it to a Jumbotron. And so if we want to add like this button warning, we can just pick this, right, and add it to what we've just created. And so I can just, in the Jumbotron, add this and save. If I run it, okay, let's call this sign up instead of warning. So sign up. If I save this and then Control C, Flask run, and refresh, that should, sorry, 1 second. So, and then refresh the page, you can see the button sign up. So basically, I hope this makes sense to you. You just add Bootstrap CDN, that's it. Forget about the extended base of HTML. I'll tell you why I added that in a subsequent video, because we'll be working with it. You can pause the video or like stop the video and then try and work on using Bootstrap to build like a really, really beautiful website. Let me know how it goes, and I'll see you in the next video.